Grace and peace, beloved. I'm Dr. William H. Myers, professor of New Testament and Black Church Studies at Ashland Theological Seminary in Ohio, and pastor of the New Mount Zion Baptist Church in Cleveland. I bring you the word for the day from 1 Thessalonians 5:14, part A. I urge you, brothers and sisters, to warn those who are idle and disruptive. You know, in recent times, we've seen so many things come against the church. Not only throughout our history in America has there been bombing of churches in the 50s and 60s, black churches, when people was fighting against social justice, civil rights in the South. But in the 21st century, we've seen bombing of a whole variety of different churches. And then, not very long ago, we saw protesters invade a religious worship service and disrupt it because they had grievances with the federal government about immigration. It just seems that there's so much lack of regard and respect for God's house, more and more. But here's what I find interesting. Paul, here in the letter to the Thessalonians, is not really talking to those who are outside of the church and have no reason to have reverence and regard for the church. Paul's talking, he says, to my brothers and sisters. He's talking to those of the household of faith. Warn those who are idle and disruptive. When I was a boy, I used to hear them say all the time, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. In other words, when you aren't doing anything of any social good or personal good, being busy in something of good, then the possibility is your mind just works and becomes the playground for the enemy. So Paul had encouraged them to not be idle, but to be doing something of substance. In fact, he goes on to say, another place, those who are idle and don't work, they should not eat. But here he also adds disruptive. He's talking to those of us in the church that there are better ways to engage one another. And we should always seek that. Seek to maintain the unity and the bond of peace. And idleness and disruptiveness does not do that. How easily in the flesh and in our own minds we have made this something to celebrate. No longer do we celebrate. peace and unity. And the ethic of hard work, we make idleness and disruptiveness something great and good to be pursued. Not here in the church, Paul says. Warn those. I think we need to take stock of that and how important it is when brothers and sisters dwell together in peace.